Hey guys, it's JC Sweetbucket, and today I'm going to show you how I do a decoden cell phone case. This is an iPhone 5C. As you can see, the cover is a little bit scratched up. That's because I use sandpaper and scratch up the hard plastic cover to give it a little more grip. This one has pink drip. I do that using fabric paint. You can also use hot glue, but I prefer fabric paint because it comes in more colors. This is actually a custom commission case I'm doing for you guys. You're going to want to grab some wax paper to lay down on your surface so nothing gets too sticky, paper towels for cleanup, and of course your silicone. Now I use this silicone in a tube, and just make sure it is 100% silicone. Some sort of tape, a rhinestone pencil, and a plastic piping tube. I use plastic because instead of cleaning it out, it dries and I pull it right out. And of course you want your cabochons and the things you're going to use for your case. Make sure you have an example of what you're going to do beforehand, laying it out. This really helps out because once you put a cabochon down, you can't really pick it back up. So then you're going to take your tube of silicone and you're going to go grab a pair of scissors and cut the very tip off. You want a nice bit of it exposed so you can place your plastic nozzle end on it. What you're going to do then is use your tape to secure the plastic tip to the tube. You want to make sure it's secured really nicely so that way when you squeeze it doesn't come right off. So now what I'm going to do for you guys is show one or two different ways that I pipe. Now this may take a little bit of practice on how you hold it, but I'm going to start off with a simple shell that you see on most cabochon cases. Use your paper towel to do the first squeeze because that usually has some of the liquid and the chalky looking part of the tube. So get rid of that first excess silicone. So what you want to do is keep your hand steady, squeeze out a bit, and then slowly take off. And you're going to do this over and over again. The first few shells are going to be a little chalky looking, but that's because it's the very beginning of the tube. For a star shape, simply place your tube down on the paper and squeeze and slowly pull up. I do a little circle and that twirls the very tip of the star. I don't use this technique too often, but if you choose to, you may like to, just to add a bit of variety. So now I'm going to start piping on the phone. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to actually pipe on one side and then the other instead of just slowly going down, and that's because my hand hurts and I want to get the very edges first because those are the most important. Everything in the middle kind of gets squished anyway, so you want to make sure the shells on the very edge, which are what people are going to see, look really nice. But that's really up to you. So I follow the trail down and I leave a little space at the bottom. On the bottom I do a diagonal line of shells. See, here's an example on why you don't do what I just did. As you can see, this middle line, being squished between the two other lines, is getting kind of wonky looking. In fact, I actually screwed up two shells above, but I'll show you guys how to fix that in a little bit. So here's the diagonal line I used to cover up the very bottom, and what I do is I fill in empty spaces and I ended up with a swirl at the corner of my phone, which is kind of like my signature. So here we have it all done. A couple of the lines are a little diagonal, but don't worry too much about that because you can simply cover any problems you did up with a cabochon. Now you might want to work a little quickly because silicone dries from the outside in, so if the surface dries before you get a piece on there, it won't stick. Sorry about my head there. So you want to press your charms in firmly, especially charms that are very flat at the bottom. This charm here wasn't made by me, this was actually made by the one who commissioned it. She actually sent me this to put on the case for her. I I tend to work from the upper side down. Be aware that after you put the silicone on, every single charm may not fit the way you planned it to fit when you put it on an empty case. So you might want to have to get creative. Whoa, right there, did you see that? I just dropped a cabochon into the silicone. Oh man, what a bummer. It's okay. While it's still wet, you gotta clean your cabochon right off, and don't worry too much about the silicone you messed up. You can actually put it back to where it is and cover it up with a cabochon like how I'm going to do now. For with charms that overlap, such as this teddy bear over this chocolate bar, not a lot of the teddy bear is touching the silicone, which means it has a risk of falling off. So what I'm going to do later is secure that teddy bear to the cabochon behind it using some E600 or super glue or whatever you have handy. So as you can just see what I did, I covered up the little uh-oh I made using one of the half pearls. I also do this at the very bottom edge of the phone. Like I said, you can really get creative since decoden is really just a organized mess of really cute things. So if you've got something a little out of place, simply put a rhinestone over it. But remember to work quickly, because if the cover of the silicone sets, you won't be able to put anything else on. This is where I start using the rhinestone pencil to put some rhinestones in between each shell. I've seen this technique done and I really liked it, so I started to catch on to it. This makes a little nice pattern. So here's the case all complete in all of its glory. What I have learned actually, what I used to do is put rhinestones around the camera, but after doing that to my own phone, I found out that if you do that and try to use the flash will bounce off the rhinestones and you will get a horrible picture. So try keeping rhinestones and really shiny things away from where the camera is going to be on the case. So when your silicone is done, it'll take approximately 3 days to dry. Remember, silicone dries from the outside in, so although the outside may feel dry, the inside may not be set, and you may end up with a deformed case. You're gonna now take your plastic tip off of your tube of silicone and set it aside. In approximately 3 days, the silicone in that piping tip will dry and you can pull it right out. Since you laid down your wax paper, all you have to do is crumple up your workstation and throw it all away. Thank you guys so much for watching, and once again, I'm JC Sweetbucket. Check the description for any links to any of my shops and any of my accounts, and once again, thanks for watching.